When my baby, who was just 21 months old, his name was Jarvis John, he was murdered by the babysitter, and justice did not happen, which was a second blow, but losing him was an impossibility for me to survive. I was so deeply in love with my firstborn that I could not see beyond anything, and the only thing I could grasp onto, the only thing I could accept, was that he wasn't dead, that he was alive in the spirit world, and then I could live and communicate with him through spirit, through love. And that brought me alive and saved me. And there's many, many Baha'i prayers that helped me at that time. I set up an altar, and I would just sit there and pray and pray. And it took me 2 years of praying before I could come out of crying all the time. And actually it took another 20 to really heal. And everyone has to go at their own pace. And I truly wish that I had been able to do it sooner. But I wasn't able to surrender to what is. It happened, and it's something that I needed to accept, but it took that long to accept it. That beloved child addresseth thee from the hidden world. O thou kind mother, thank divine providence that I have been freed from a small and gloomy cage, and like the birds of the meadows have soared to the divine world, a world which is spacious, illumined, and ever gay and jubilant. Therefore lament not, O mother, and be not grieved. I am not of the lost, nor have I been obliterated and destroyed. I have shaken off the mortal form and have raised my banner in the spiritual world. Following this separation is everlasting companionship. Thou shalt find me in the heaven of the Lord, immersed in an ocean of light. Adol-Laha. And that was one of the tragedies I survived. But another was getting cancer, and I solved that through anything I could think of medically. I did chemo, I had a mastectomy, and in that terror of feeling you're going to die and you've got young children and you can't, I prayed, and I prayed and prayed, and there was a prayer group set up around the world for me, which really helped me, knowing that other people cared all around the world for me, for my life, and somehow I became significant enough to live. And so I did. And then I got cancer again, which was devastating because they said I only had 6 months to live, and my family wasn't growing yet, and we all fell apart. And we went into, they told me I could take narcotics for pain because I wasn't going to live long enough to have to worry about withdrawal. And so I became addicted, and my family became addicted, and ultimately, because I couldn't think right and I was overrun by addicts after me, I lost my house. I could not control things. And I thought I would be able to, but it slipped out of control, and I ended up living on the reserve in a rundown shack that we were really grateful that had a roof. It didn't have windows, doors, taps, fridge. And we lived that way for quite a few years because no one would help us, even if we were begging for help and really ready for it. People had lost their faith in us, and they couldn't see the changes that we'd gone through. We isolated ourselves from everyone. We had no phone for 2 or 3 years. People had to walk miles to get to see us, and we had to walk half an hour to make a phone call. And, medically things didn't go too well because we couldn't make appointments. But so my son's health care fell backwards, and we're just trying to make up for that now. But this is like 7, 8 years later, and we are now gaining recognition for who we are really as we are at the moment. It's a hard burden to shake, and I'm just grateful that I've gone through all these struggles, because out of each one I chose to do it the right way and the best way possible, and from that we all receive gems of wisdom of what is real and what is important in life. And that's our connection with the Creator, and to constantly walk with God. And that was the solution for everything, to be in the moment, to be here now, and to be walking with God's will. And I can feel happy today, and I'm very grateful. It was within ourselves. We just grew, because we still weren't receiving much help. We just began to practice what we preached, and I think now we can go out and actually help others in a good way. We're in a position financially just recently where we can give back to the people now, and we're struggling with how to do that in a good way, and but it's a good struggle. 30 years to get this project going. Cultus Lake, Swally Reserve, First Nation, in the corner of the Chilliwack River for thousands and thousands of years, and just below the Cultus Lake. So it's a huge 1,000 feet deep gravel pit. Yeah, and there may even be gold at the bottom too. We might get into sluicing, making jewelry.
Oh.
It's been agriculture. We leased it out for raspberries for a while. It took us a long time to get this project off the ground, because no one would listen. We couldn't find the method to do it, and nobody would believe us. And finally, it took me a year of writing a letter to the chief. I already had a band council resolution stating that the project was approved, but then the chief and council changed, and then I couldn't get the chief to respond for a year. So we finally got a native entrepreneur to go between everybody, and we pulled it off. And it's going to be signed sometime next week, I hope. And what we decided to do was give half of the earnings to the people, to help Swally have a solid socioeconomic foundation, because they have no economy now. And from this process, we're also discovering that we need to work on self-governance, and the band is about to define everything. And to strengthen that, I have so many issues with how Indian Affairs has destroyed that, the rights for women to own property or to inherit things. It has taken away any matrimonial rights that once existed fully, and has disempowered women to the point of, you can kick a woman off the reserve with nothing, seriously, and happens all over Canada that way. And I just feel that this has got to change. These archaic laws have got to come back to the ones that were in place, where we had rights because we could pass on songs and masks, and that gave us honor and respect, and sorely missing now. In balance, yes, the potlatch systems could be brought back with full understanding of the meaning of giving to all, is actually giving to your community as a whole, is preservation and enlightened way of doing it. Mm-hmm. In that place, women can have their full role once again. But it seemed insurmountable to be able to go through all the regulations, and we've finally achieved it properly with a company that's got integrity. We had to find a good company that we believe in, and now the people there's 10 jobs for the people for 10 years, and 2 are already employed. Some are going for training now. So the whole place is going to have a life now. I think we're going to establish a place to pray, first and foremost. We're going to build an outdoor circle and call in people. And maybe if we get the community together and pray together and discover each other's humanity and let out the hurts, find ways of healing them, and just hopefully develop a community vision that we're all part of. I think that's the goal. I do believe at this time, when we're getting community vision, I think that the Baha'i processes of finding community vision will be really helpful here. I'd like to see junior youth groups, because there's a charming little group of little girls at that age, and they meet once a week, and I'm sure they'd be happy to meet more. Think of uniting all the First Nations, and uniting the Pacific Rim First Nations, and how can I would just say it's the sum total of all the writings that lead us to this knowing that we are going to be a one world. We are one world, and honoring everything, I would think. Respect for all things. And I believe Baha'u'llah put us in place through our trials and troubles and sufferings with the answers that we've come up with because of them, to help others now. Well, it's a perfect fit. It's the same. And that we recognize all 4 directions is the same as recognizing the world is all one, you know. So it's very simple to understand when you believe the same thing. Just, to me, it means to represent who I am. It gives me the words to express my spiritual thoughts. It means that I get to stand tall and strong and be who I am, and take another hand on my right and another hand on my left and walk together. I think that's how I see it.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. He he tehina. Ita lelam, ita shwai, ita halelam, ita tele, ita shment, ita shkolakstat, ita shkoliwen shment, ita shkwakwets, ita tamuch, ita kwatlakwa, ita squathe, ita spalhani. Shnis thou hels quas he, ita he he stiwia. Do you want that in English?
Sure.
Blessed is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified.